I love. Are you in the dining room or is there a room down?
Hey, Michael, it's Jen Miller.
Hi, Jen. Did you hear when I unmuted you?
No, I did not, but I can hear you now.
Okay, good.
Oh, she was barely here. Something.
So I had everybody muted on.
Michael,
Hello?
it's Bill Belluzzi. Unfortunately, I don't have my car keys, so I'm walking, but I decided to call in so while I'm walking. So
Should I go drive and get him?
How far out are you, Bill?
I'm on Lime Street by the by the chocolate shop. So
Okay, we'll wait for you.
A few minutes, but if you need a call, I figured I'd call in case you needed a quorum.
No, we're good. We'll wait for you.
River Lane. Oh my God. He doesn't want that.
Sorry about that.
Poor guy. At least it's not raining.
What's that?
Nice night.
At least it's not raining.
That's absolutely correct. I was running a few minutes and I said, I'll just get, because I was going to walk, and then I said, I'll just take the other car, and those keys are in my wife's pocketbook somewhere, not in the house. So I'm diligently making my way to do my duty.
Dedication.
But if you want, you can start.
No, it's just us, and at this point, at least, it doesn't look like there's anyone here for public comment, so we're happy to wait for you, Bill.
All right.
Yeah, I'm here for public comment.
Very good.
Yeah. So, well, if you like, only that this way it doesn't hold everybody in. I'm almost at the ice cream shop.
We'll be starting in about 5 minutes then.
Perfect.
For those who are waiting online. John Coughlin, are you on the line? Okay, folks, thanks for waiting. I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the Old Lyme Affordable Housing Commission. It's Wednesday, April 20th. It's 5:15 p.m., and this is our monthly regular meeting for the month of April. Here in Town Hall, we have Bill Belluzzi, Karen Winters, Lori Walker, myself, Michael Fogliano, and on the phone we have Jen Miller. If there's no objection, we'll seat Lori as a voting member for this meeting. Very good. Objection. And we have a quorum.
If there was only, say, you and I here and everybody else is on the phone, does that still make a quorum?
Yes.
It does.
Let me just make sure everyone on the phone is unmuted. Jen, you there?
Yep, I'm here. I can hear you guys clearly.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, this is a regular meeting, so the agenda is able to be amended if there's a motion and vote to do so. Do I have any amendments to the agenda for this evening? Okay, hearing none. We will go on to the first item on the agenda, other than the call to order, which is public comment. And with that, we have no one here at the meeting hall, but I'm aware there's at least one person on the phone line. So if you would identify yourself, and we're open to hearing your comment. If you could keep it to a couple of minutes, please go ahead.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can.
Good. My name is Carolyn Miranda, and I just wanted to let you know I've been listening for a lot of meetings by phone, so I really appreciate you offering it by telephone because a lot of us can't get out. I want to let you know I've learned an awful lot about affordable housing by listening. I had a lot of misinformation about what it was all about, and I think a lot of other people still have a lot of misinformation. But however, I applaud you all for your dedication to what you do and for imparting information so that we can all be more knowledgeable. I did attend your 2 forums. I thought they were very good, and I got a couple friends to attend via the phone also. So I want to say keep up the good work, and please keep letting us listen by telephone. And that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Miranda. I think I can speak for the Commission in saying we're very gratified to hear your comments. And I can tell you, I was just letting folks know before we started that I'm aware that there is legislation before the General Assembly right now that is going to allow us to keep doing these meetings electronically and keep video conferencing and phone-in meetings as an option. And I'll speak for the Commission in saying we're all very much in favor of that for exactly the reason you said, so that more people are able to join us. So thank you very much. I'm glad you found it useful.
Great. Thank you.
Is there anyone else on the phone line who would like to make a comment? Okay, hearing none. We'll move on to item 3 on the agenda, which is adoption of the Affordable Housing Plan. So I'm going to, for discussion purposes, I will look for a motion to, first of all, let's just check. Everybody had the draft plan?
Yes.
No. Yeah. Jen, you had that draft plan, right?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I was on mute. Yes, I do.
Very good. Thanks, Jen. Okay. In that case, I'll look for a motion to adopt the plan as drafted, subject to adding the survey data, the housing needs assessment data, and the build-out analysis data that's going to come from SLR, and that's going to be appended, plus proofreading edits and any minor formatting for publication that's going to have to be done to submit it to the state, and then forwarding the product of that to the Board of Selectmen for their consideration. So I'll look for a motion to that effect.
I move that we approve.
So moved will do.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
That was a mouth.
There's a lot to remember. Okay, motion by Bill Beluzzi, second by Karen Winters. Because we're in a hybrid meeting on the phone, I'll need to do a roll call vote when we get there, but now I'll just open for any discussion.
When do you expect to get the information from SLR?
This week.
This week?
Yeah.
So we hope to have it to the Board of Selectmen by?
End of the week,
yeah.
Early next week at the latest. And then I would say the process is, I had talked to Tim about it before. Depending on how much room they have on their agenda, they'll either put us on the agenda for considering the plan and give us some time to walk them through it, or depending on how busy they are, we might schedule a special meeting just for this, with a special Board of Selectmen meeting to which we would be invited to advance the plan.
So there would be an, I guess opportunity is the better word, to discuss the plan with them, for them to ask questions,
yes.
That whole kind of thing.
Yep, and we'll get it to them in advance. And that will give us pretty much the whole month of May to go through the final step.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, I reiterate what we said, when we reviewed last week. I think it does a good job without completely, tying us down. It provides options. It provides some specific recommendations of how we can proceed, how we can proceed with other boards and commissions within the town, and I think we should be proud of the plan.
I agree.
Jen, anything?
No, I think it looks good. I think we should go forward with it. And no other comments. You guys did a great job on it.
Okay. So if there's no further discussion, we'll go to a vote. Again, I'm going to do a roll call because we're in a hybrid meeting, and that's what the requirement is. So, Jen, start with you.
I say aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Great.
Aye.
I'll add my aye. So it is unanimously accepted that the motion carries, and we'll finalize this draft and send it along to the Board of Selectmen for their consideration and schedule either an agenda item on one of their upcoming regular or their May upcoming regular meeting, or a special meeting to be determined for them to take it up. And I'll take that action. Okay, here we are. It's been almost a year.
Wow.
All right.
It's pretty exciting, right? So I
it
think
is.
it's pretty.
It
yeah.
is. Although I'm.
It's an accomplishment, I believe.
It's a good start, though I'm acutely aware that it's the beginning of the work, not the end of the work. It really starts now. All right, so we have, this meeting is kind of going in reverse order from what we normally do, so now we're backing into the housekeeping items. So, approval of minutes. First, the March 29th special meeting, which was the community workshop. You have the minutes?
Yep.
Okay, I'll look for a motion to accept the minutes as written for discussion purposes. Karen? Second by Lori. Discussion? Hearing none, I'll do a roll again. Jen?
All good, sorry.
You might be muted, Jen. I'm looking for, we're voting on approving the minutes from March 29th Community Workshop.
Aye. I say aye.
Good. Bill?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Lori?
Aye.
Aye for me. Motion carries. Okay, next up we have the April 13th special meeting. Again, I'll look for a motion to approve the minutes for discussion purposes. Karen? Second?
Bill?
Bill?
Fine.
Discussion?
If I was absent from the meeting, do I need to abstain?
Yes. Okay, no discussion? Take the roll. Jen?
Aye.
Thank you. Bill?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Lori?
Abstain. I was absent.
And I'll add aye. And the motion carries. All right. That's item 4. All right, item 5, some updates. I'll give a very brief one on the McCulloch Family Open Space option. Amanda's back, and I corresponded with Amanda and Evan Griswold from the Open Space Commission. We're going to get together briefly just to resynchronize on what the proposal is and set up that meeting with the Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance, and Planning.
But it did perk out. Everything perked right. It's a building lot, she said in the meeting. I heard her.
Yep. So we're good to go. And now it's just advancing the specific proposal we have for the town, just to refresh, for the town to retain ownership for qualified, affordable, small homes to be built on each of the designated building envelopes. And for those to be sold, the homes, and the property leased to the owners, thereby creating a revenue stream that will go to offset any administrative overhead from the town, administrative maintenance overhead incurred by the town to own those properties, and also to reimburse the original purchase price to the Open Space Fund over time.
And I'm sorry, I might have zoned out. That's our proposal.
That proposal was brought before the Open Space Commission.
Right.
Agreed to.
Right.
And now we're going to take the next step and bring it to the Board of Finance, Board of Selectmen, and the Planning Commission to start working out the details and getting those are the key stakeholders in this to come on board. And hopefully in short order we'll get to the next step and actually, so assuming that goes forward and we come through those discussions with Finance, Selectmen, and Planning with the proposal more or less intact, possibly with some adjustments based on their input. But at that point, the next step would be to put a building committee together and get to work. Should be a great milestone to achieve. So stay tuned. This will be on the next agenda, hopefully with for at least the next meeting. Okay. Next on the updates, Arba Proposal. Jen, you want to take it from here?
The what proposal?
So again, I'll refresh. This was ARPA funding is available. The ARPA Commission has now published formal application forms and process to apply for it. We had originally had the notion that we were going to try to identify at least one property, maybe more, that the town could purchase and redevelop as qualified affordable units, because that is allowed under ARPA.
I thought Jen said we couldn't purchase land.
For redevelopment.
Correct.
Not just land, it would have to be land and building, something that you could refurb, not build new.
Oh, I see.
So refurbishing and building new qualifies, building new would not. But we've come up dry on finding an existing property to purchase, and there was another idea, and at this point I'll pass the baton to Jen to say more about that.
Okay. Yep. So what we did was there's 68 properties owned by the town, and we went through that list, and then just figured out that there's about 52 of them that are actually land. Some of them are unbuildable. Others are smaller lots that they don't think that there's any space, let's say, to actually build on. They're like an eighth of an acre, something like that. However, there are a couple acres that are on their 1, 2, and 2.5 acre lots. However, those could be unbuildable for other reasons, for like perk tests, septic, etc. So, regardless, ARPA doesn't allow you to purchase those types of properties for that kind of reason. So, those are out of the question for this purpose. Could be that later on we could do something with those. But right now, it's out of the question for this particular application. So for this application...
Jen, will they let you adapt existing owned properties? Will they let you adapt existing owned?
So it would have to be a refurbishment, not a build new.
Okay.
So
in other words, we couldn't do the driveway issues over it.
Yeah, one of the ideas that John and Karen had was to repurpose the driveway up to the affordable lots right now. That could be something that we'd look into. That may be something that the town will want to uptake because we don't own that property right now, but we could. So that could be something. The other one is as far as the working with folks.
We talked about the access path on McCullough property?
Upper Flat Rock.
Yeah, that is town-owned property.
But is it owned by Hope or is it owned by the town?
It's owned by the town, and there's a conservation easement on it, so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Right. So to make that into a material, a usable driveway and a facility that goes up to those 1, 2, 3, 4 homes in the future, whatever, that could be something. But again, that would have to be something that we would have to get a ruling on, so it's not cut and clear. Then the third thing that Karen and John and I thought was that basically working with Jen Datum as far as social services goes, and looking at the people that she's working with as far as social services goes, and several people have applied to the ARPA funds for the single family, economic help, basically, for the ARPA funds. What we could do is probably work with them, and that would be more of a materials and preparation function. We would still have to have like a building committee, like you were suggesting, John, as far as like how would we organize this and who would lead it.
Sure.
It couldn't be this commission, but so we would have to have something like a function that does that, and who would take that on as far as licensed professionals, et cetera, helping them to maintain safety.
Well, you'd have a committee, then you would hire a licensed professional to do everything else.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm confused.
Exactly.
I'm very confused because I never thought that we were going to be using ARPA funds for social services projects, and I really believe those people are assisted in manners that are outside of our purview. That's really not. I don't think that's our charge.
Yeah, I don't know. So I'm like suggesting that this is the only. So when Jen is working, Jen Datum, this is working with them. They're basically on a 1-by-1 home ownership thing, saying, okay, so social services funds are available for me because I have been impacted by COVID somehow in the pandemic, and out of work, etc. The other aspect is that there are people in the community that social services is working with who just cannot afford to keep up their properties from a safety standpoint. So that's the other aspect.
So it seems to me that the only thing that would be under our purview would be if somebody were not able to keep up their payments and somehow through ARPA funds we were able to acquire that and make it into affordable housing on whatever.
No, you don't need to acquire it. Yeah, no, you don't need to acquire it, is my understanding. You only need to support it. And they have to meet the income threshold.
I'm not there.
Yeah, I think that's a different
agency.
That might be a different thing from what our purpose is.
Yeah, I think it comes from a different agency than us.
So what if, here's just a, what if...
Yeah, and we're separating two things, like the ARPA fund remit from the commission remit. So it's two different purposes, pretty much.
So our job is to increase the availability of affordable housing in town. So what if, and our original premise on this was maybe we can acquire some sort of distressed or available non-qualified affordable housing unit and use ARPA funding to convert it into something that was qualified, affordable, and protected as such. So is there a path here where we wouldn't necessarily acquire it, but work with the owner and occupant of a not qualified?
I say no because, okay, I'm sorry.
Check. And then at the end of that process, part of the return on that investment would be to get a deed restriction such that that unit was now qualified and recognized as affordable.
I would see that as a distinction that makes sense, because then you're talking about increasing by one one at a time, affordable housing, not just assisting a homeowner, which is not a bad thing. It's just not.
So there'd be a string. The string attached would be at the end of it. There would be a deed.
They would be willing to
put a deed restriction on such that it would be protected affordable housing going forward.
I'm not against that.
And it's a subtle difference, because our original thought would be to acquire without the occupant and then transfer it to a future occupant. But if the difference here would be the occupant would stay.
I guess the other thing that might be, of course, you have to, whatever has to be done to affect that kind of change to make it into an affordable housing, is the good hook for us would be those properties exist, according to Jen, and people exist that are looking for assistance. So it could be that, in fact, it might even be possible for them to apply. Maybe maybe you can get assistance on two ends. Maybe they can get assistance as an individual for something to be helping them out as having been affected by COVID, and we get assistance. We get the funds from ARPA to turn that into an affordable housing unit.
Jen, do you think that they would be receptive to that deed restriction, or does that have never come up?
It hasn't come up to my knowledge, but could be, could be receptive.
And another thing that we could possibly look into also, when we started talking about this a number of months ago, there was no houses that are in foreclosure in Oman. Now there's probably, about 15 or 16 with the state.
There's 15 or 16 in Irvine that are in foreclosure?
Yeah, that are in active foreclosure process.
Yeah, a friend of mine just put a bid on one of them.
Yeah, what I'm saying is possibly if a bank owns it, we could approach a bank, but the question is, I don't put the cart before the horse. I mean, who do we actually verdier or ask if what we can and can't use the funds for?
That's ARPA committee.
Rick. Yeah,
okay.
Rick.
Jen, you have a good relationship with him?
Yeah, in the final rule, what he described in the final rule, and if you read the final rule on this, if you Google just final rule ARPA, you'll see. But it's it's pretty much rehab / keeping people in their homes. As far as affordable housing goes, there's many other aspects to it. But as far as this goes, maintenance and rehab, safety, and those types of things, but definitely not new construction, unfortunately.
No, but there's a number of these that are actually in final judgments where actually they may be.
Mm-hmm. This is Lori. Do you think that increase in foreclosures is because during COVID there was a lot of forgiveness?
Yeah, there's mortgage moratorium, so all of a sudden it's catching up because the people now are made to pay.
Interesting.
Yeah, because when we looked at this over the winter when we were talking about this, there were none. I mean, there was zero. So they said,
so where do we get that information from, John?
State of Connecticut, case lookup, judicial website, case lookup, then you go property address, and you just put Old Lyman.
All right. And
it's all available here.
Jim, can I get a list of the properties that are town-owned?
There's Judy Tucker has the list. There's 68 town-owned properties, and
you're not having Amy to call Judy.
I can scan it in tomorrow or sometime. I don't have a proper scanner or whatever facility, but I'll take pictures of it and send it to you guys. I went through them all on GIF, and really there's we need to do, we'll either need to do drive-bys on it and to see what happens,
what about,
or whatever. So.
Yeah. Another suggestion, maybe I'll call Judy. I mean, is there a way that we could have first crack at Old Lyme tax foreclosures?
I don't think they can legally give us first dibs, but I mean, there's no.
No, in other words, once the town takes occupancy, or I mean, they do the foreclosure and then they're done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on the list of 68, there are no foreclosures.
Well, there's a number of properties that are under tax foreclosure right now with the town.
No, not out of the 68 that I got from Judy.
I know, Jen. What I'm saying is town doesn't own them yet because they haven't done the case lookup. So I was just looking at the. Yeah, they're in exactly. They're in the list. They're a number of.
So what are you looking at, John?
I'm looking at the State of Connecticut judicial website.
Okay.
And basically, I'm going to the town of Old Lyme for all the foreclosures that are active in Old Lyme. And I'm only looking at residential properties. But there's a number of them. Like the town of Old Lyme, 1, 2, 3, 4.
No, that's cool.
There's about 4 right now. The old town of Old Lyme has on the list right now. And there's I just haven't read all the notes of case notes, but I could certainly do that and see which banks own things, because if they're bank owned, maybe we can approach the bank.
Mhm. Yeah, so that's an idea. So getting back to the ARPA application though, so by May 2nd we have to put in an app for that. So would everybody be open to just is this an idea basically that we could put forward with the application, which doesn't have to be finalized on May 2nd. It's just the application for due funds. And then later in the summer, it would be finalized with our project plan, which does have to be concrete. So would we be open to looking at something like basically maintenance and repairs on a owner-owned home that for a low income or an affordable income persons that would help them stay in their home?
I think we're saying only if it would turn into affordable housing.
Deed restriction.
Correct.
Well, so what you mean, Bill, is by only if it turns into affordable housing, as in they then deed it to somehow qualify it as affordable
Jen,
income.
they still own it, but it's a deed change.
Yeah, I don't think
it's a deed change. Yes, it's to be affordable housing. It does.
So I know to count for our numbers as far as that goes, but I was under the impression that we weren't going for the numbers. We were just going for the affordability.
Well, there's more than just the numbers, Jen. So the other aspect of the deed restriction is that it protects it such that if it was to sell, it would have to sell at an affordable price to a qualified, to a new owner that's qualified by income.
Exactly, and it carries on the work from this person to next, and it'll eventually help more than one person.
It would avoid a scenario where someone could use ARPA funding to improve their property and then sell it at a potential profit to someone who wasn't qualified.
Exactly, yeah.
Exactly,
No, totally.
like a flip.
Totally. Okay, yep.
We're actually protecting the town and our committee.
The people who are working with social services and for applying for ARPA funds, it sounds to me like funds are available separate and apart from having to come through affordable housing. In other words, I don't think so they have an opportunity to get that assistance because it is an acceptable use of ARPA funds. But we're looking for projects that could somehow increase the affordable housing stock, even if by one or so, and want to put in apply for funds that would accomplish that.
To achieve that end, yeah.
Right. I guess, or in the case of something where even if that driveway or that kind of thing, we have those, they are already affordable housing units, and we want to do something to enhance them that, in the case of the road, would actually help us down the road a piece with the McCullough property. I just see that kind of thing as different from helping somebody who's who is in trouble and laudable as that might be. I think they have a way to do that in what already exists.
Well, I would agree. They more than have a way to do it through ARPA, but they also have DSS. There's a lot of programs, a lot of things that are out there for them. More than running it through affordable housing. That have less hoops that are easier to get done.
Right. Of finding one of those bank foreclosures, that would be right up. Now the problem is, can you have a placeholder? I mean, for May 1st, do you have to have a property in mind? Like the last time we talked about this, we didn't think there were any foreclosures. Right. Now we're identifying at least some. We don't know if they would, fit the bill, but.
Oh, we could ask if there needs to be a specific property identified, or do we ask for an amount that we figure could give us access to?
So, can we buy a foreclosed property? We can, even if it
Why not?
Is a question, and even if it doesn't have to be rehabbed. So my home's in perfectly good shape, and it's in foreclosure. Can affordable housing buy it?
I don't think not with ARPA.
Not with ARPA. Okay. That's what I'm wondering. Okay.
ARPA, you want to buy it to rehab it.
That's what I needed. I went.
As far as for the affordable housing.
So we really should be we should definitely be looking at those possible foreclosures to see if we work something else outside of ARPA with that. But with ARPA, maybe we should start thinking about the town-owned stuff that Jen has that Tooker and Jen has the list for.
But those
because they're town-owned already.
Those are
Well, 100% of those, John, are land. They're vacant.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So there's no structure to refurb.
So you're not going to let us take 52 Lime Street?
No. We can take it down and make it into a mansion if we want, but no. So what I think, why don't we do this? Why don't we look at the what John suggested was the new recent onslaught of these things. If that is allowable, I'll ask Rick if that's allowable. I'm not sure that is, like taking over a vacant property that probably is not already on the tax foreclosure list. It's just in a bank foreclosure. It's not owned by the town. So that could be something that is a situation.
There's both. There's bank foreclosures, and then there's foreclosures, town foreclosures. It wouldn't be on the town
foreclosures.
No, there are, but they won't be on the list until they go through their due process, and they have a judgment against the owner, and then the sheriff will, make the change of ownership.
Yeah, that could be years, though.
No, actually, these things some of these have been hanging around a long time. I just don't know why they weren't on there before. But I think it was because we couldn't see it because it was on a moratorium. So this was just sitting in limbo.
Right.
So
a friend of mine I know is just buying one. It's been in foreclosure for 2 years, and he just put a bid on it. And she's down in Florida, living her new life and whatever. So I mean, it takes a long time. So I'm not sure that we want to go for that angle. What I was thinking was maybe because these ARPA funds have to be used by a certain time, and the project plans have to be submitted and then actually used by 2026. The final plan, I believe it's 2026. So what we want to do is figure out what's the best use, right? So would it be better to set up some kind of maintenance program or with social services and Jen Datum and those guys, or would it be better just to take over something, or could we just start to, I'm sure, Michael, if we could do the driveway and the building design on the McCullough property as a start.
I'm not sanguine about that one, Jen, because that has a conservation easement on it, and that's going to have some hoops. Mm-hmm. So paving it would
the whole property.
Maybe talking out of school here, but I don't think paving it is going to be an option and putting permeable surface there with a conservation easement.
Oh, we're not paving it, just putting a road, basically. Yeah.
There's already a road there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a
dirt. Yep, and that's the way it's. My understanding is
that's the way it's going to be. Oh, okay.
Because the whole thing is under a conservation easement.
Okay, all right.
Well, it sounds like there are at least two possibilities. One would be and I don't know how it could be identified, and it has to be done, or at least a placeholder has to be done, and that would be going through social services and finding somebody who'd be willing to have their home rehabbed and turned into affordable housing. That's one possibility for us, because we're looking for ways that we might be able to use some ARPA funds that would assist us in upping the stock of affordable housing in Old Lyme. The second would be
if I could add to that one, Bill. So in that scenario you just described, so the current occupant would need to be able to be qualified by income.
Oh, good point.
As
qualifying for affordable housing, right? And then whatever changes have to be made, and in order for that deed to change. So that's one.
So that the latter half of your question, Bill, was my concern. Was does it have to be then deeded over? So or are we just qualifying the current qualified person that we know?
If we don't deed it over, so then again, the people you put $80,000, $100,000 in a house or whatever you do, all of a sudden, 2 or 3 months later, they decide, hey, let's flip it. Let's sell this and off the money we go. I mean, that's the concern, that we have as a committee, but also we not only, we don't have that unit, and it's whether it's numbers or not. What we're trying to do is give places for people that need affordable place to live. In Old Lyme, that are actually people that either workforce, older, whatever category we decide. It's really important to make sure that we have all the ducks in a row because, all of a sudden, think about transparency on that one. So all of a sudden, you fix everything up, the person flips it, it goes around like wildfire in the town. Because we're very transparent. So all of a sudden, hey, did affordable housing help them do it? I just don't. I don't like the optics, and also the fact is we need protection for the fact that our purpose is to grow the stock of affordable houses. To come up with a plan that we've been working on better part of 2 years now or a little longer maybe. But it's the right thing for the townspeople. This would be the right thing for somebody who's distressed, and it should be a shoe-in. Hey, we're going to help you, but here's the caveat. There is you have your investment in this where you're going to make this an affordable house. You get a 10% appreciation on your house from whatever the buy price is. I'm not sure the ins and outs of that because we're fixing up something that's depreciated. So we come up with an appraisal at the time, and then that sort of sets the benchmark for it. Because we don't want to hurt them, but we also don't want to overly enrich them.
Yeah, I
think
that works. Yep, absolutely.
So what that scenario is basically taking a current situation where you have a qualified owner, occupant, in a currently distressed property that's refurbed and then deed restricted so that it becomes a refurbed, qualified, affordable unit that's protected for the future.
And would only carry on to somebody, right.
So the difference between that and buying something that's unoccupied is that you have to sort of bring the occupant along through the process.
Along for the ride, sure.
Yeah, and that whole piece, so I was going to say that the second thing we could do is somehow purchase through ARPA funds, and I'm not sure I understand who actually purchased. I mean, I'm sure it's not the commission actually purchasing it, but through some way, purchase something that's either on the market or through a bank that we feel is at a price that we could use ARPA funds for and rehab it into affordable housing. I think those are that's the only thing that I'm seeing as ways that we could use ARPA funds.
So I think that goes along with John's idea about the foreclosures, right? So could we do something with those? So maybe we can pursue something along those lines.
What I could do is I could actually reach out to the trustees of the ones that are further along in foreclosure and basically take their temperature, what's going to happen to it, and maybe report back to you guys. I can call on a bunch of things that are reasonably priced. Obviously, the $1.5 million on the beach, I don't think we're going to really be getting that for affordable housing. But there's some in the lake. There's a bunch of number ones around town that we could take a peek at, I'm sure.
And not to throw marbles under your feet, but we got to watch the timelines here because there's a year clock ticking on actually completing the project.
Well, I'm sitting home right now because of my hip, so I had plenty of time to make phone calls.
So that would be on the foreclosures. What about the social services? Well, so if you looked at those foreclosures, saw if there's anything close that might become available, something in a less expensive price, least expensive price range, that would be one avenue. And the other way to look would be if do we investigate? How would we go about with social services to find out if somebody might qualify and might be willing to make that change in their home.
My suggestion would be to start by reaching out to Jen Dayton, who's the social service coordinator.
Jen would definitely know that. And maybe she hasn't actually reached out to that level yet, that level of detail. But I think that if we can bring her up to speed on what we're trying to achieve, that maybe she could do that.
So do we have, John is going to pursue that one. I would be willing, I don't know this person at all, I would be willing to try to pursue that, or if there's somebody else that knows her or is able to, but because those are it seems like those are our only two shots, and we have about a month to even say, well, we need 100 and we don't even have a month. We have a couple of days at least say.
The application is pretty broad, so so we could put in an application pretty broadly, but then I think that these are the two best options forward, like you said, Bill. So I
wouldn't know. Are we asking for 100,000? Are we asking for 220,000? I have no idea. So if we just had something to go by, because then the bottom line is, I guess we could apply, and then after a month, right? It's due then a month after that. The finalization, is due. Okay, I guess you could withdraw the application, right? In other words, better to put the application in, but at least with some sort of realistic numbers, I guess.
Yeah, as long as we have some reasonable level of confidence that the application has a feasible idea in it, and then we're not just...
And just out of curiosity, what kind of number are we talking about? Because like noodling here, I've got a house that's like $260,000. That's probably...
I'm thinking 300 minimum.
Okay.
How much money do they have?
1.2.
2.2.
2.2. Great.
Any idea about where we might? Because we aren't high on the priority list by the townspeople when it first came out, right? So
no.
How's
we don't? Let's not go by that.
Ask for 500,000 and be.
Yeah.
No,
my take on
I'm kidding.
Subject to everyone's input would be, if we have a feasible, good idea that has a chance of delivering our objective to increase the stock of affordable housing in town, then ask. What's the worst thing? Say no.
Yeah. So even with the foreclosure in a community in Old Barn, it would be 300,000 to grab something. So, and then we'd have to fix it up and deed it. So the legal costs and et cetera around that would be $350. So.
And Jen, not that unduly to be devilish as we're thinking this through, but at the end of this, we'd have to assume that the town would own that property, right?
Correct. Yeah. Okay,
and we'd be back into the kind of scenario we're talking about with McCulloch, but that's okay. We've thought that through, and
right.
So we at least have some idea of what that could mean to the town. So that's just another dimension of the plan that would have to be worked through.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's as far as we ought to try to go for now.
Norwich had it. We're kind of modeling this after Norwich, but Norwich had an inventory of town-owned properties with structures on them that needed refurbishing.
So that was
well, Norwich had the Blight Act, which helped.
Yeah, and they had
they
had unoccupied properties that it was very clean for them.
And the town already owned those properties in Norwich.
Yeah, well, the town took them over for blight or whatever reasons.
Yeah, here we're going to have to argue with banks, right? So we're going to have to figure it out with the banks what they want to pay. So the town doesn't own these properties. So that's going to be a thing.
Well, there's a couple that the town are moving forward. So I'll make phone calls on all of them and figure out where we're at.
Okay, John. Good. Yep.
So the proposal will need to at least do some initial thinking on how that would work. If ARPA funds were used for the town to purchase a property and take ownership of it, and then refurb it and then rent or sell it.
We could rent and resell, and then we could continue the cycle. And it's deeded low, and then it's deeded low income or affordable housing, and then
that question's
that
going to be
comes back in.
How does this all work?
Now, is it possible?
So my question is, well, just listen to this scenario possibly. So we start, you buy the first one, and it's a foreclosure or whatever, or town-owned, whatever, and then the town will own the land, the new people will own the building, it'll be deeded affordable. So then any of the proceeds that come back to it should come back to, let's say, a holding, affordable housing hold. So then we find another opportunity, and then it rolls itself. You know what I'm saying? So then they're all becoming affordable along the way on their deeds. That'd be option one. And then option two is make a rental like Lime does. The question is who's going to take care of the leaky toilet and all that other stuff, which, you know what I'm saying, from that perspective. But it's, I don't know, Karen, does Lime like the rental thing they're doing, or is it working out?
They're not doing rentals yet.
They're not doing rentals yet. Okay. I thought they were. Okay, my bad. Okay. So, I mean, having the town own the land and the homeowner own the property seems like a good way to go.
Right,
but,
and we're also.
And will they let us do the?
I don't think that rentals necessarily are the way to go in terms of helping people get a.
No, there's no investment. They don't have an investment.
Although I do definitely support rentals if it was a senior-related home.
Yes, I agree.
Most demographic studies and the market studies are saying that
rentals
are we're going to need more.
I don't disagree that we're going to need more, but I also don't think that helps people get a leg up.
Or feel home ownership.
Correct. So
100% agree.
But once again, when you go back to a senior, I feel like they're at that point where they don't want to own a home.
Mostly for seniors and starters. But
yeah.
But in any case.
Yeah, the question I was going to ask, and this may, I think the most important thing is we do a little work right now, see if we can come up with something and apply. But is there any possibility that somebody like Hope or somebody like that gets into the ownership of a place? So, I mean, I don't know how much the town would look forward to, all of this kind of management. Because those two houses that are by McCulloch there, Hope doesn't. Hope doesn't own them?
Yes, they do.
They own them. The people rent them?
Yeah.
No, people own them, but Hope owns the land.
Well, no, the town owns the land and then there's an easement.
No. Hope owns the land.
Hope owns the land. The easement from the town is so that they can have that.
Just the access road.
Access.
I did touch.
But anyway, we don't have to answer that. But that might be, in other words, if they say, well, yeah, we don't want to get into that business. Is there something with something like Hope or like that?
Well, my response to that is that the town is going to have to, because the expectation that we're going to have the expectation if we were to ever get to that 10%, they're going to have to manage those properties, and that is the way it is. So if they start with 3 of them or 5 of them or 10 of them and gradually become accustomed to getting more of them, they're simply taking, Lime does it, why can't Lime do it? They do it in-house.
So what does Lime have?
6 properties.
Right. So it's not that complicated, if you will.
No, it can be done.
Right.
Okay. I want to have another alternative in case there's a barrier. I don't want that to be the barrier.
Do you have multiple applications, Michael, or not?
I don't know. Sure.
Per project.
No.
Well, interesting. I was listening to the last Arba meeting, and they said, because they don't know how many applicants they're going to get. They may get 10,000, or they may get 5. They just don't know. Mm-hmm. So if we can, if we get more than 1 in there, why not?
My instinct
I think that's a good idea.
rather quantity, but if you got
well, I don't think we should. Right, I was going to say I don't think we should do 10 of them, but if we have two ideas that are good,
do both.
So what about the social services? Do you want me to jump in? Somebody, is that
Bill, if you could take that on, that'd be great.
Okay, and her name is
Jennifer Datum.
You and I work on that.
Datum.
Okay, great. Good. All right, Karen and I are going to do that together.
I'll call Jen tomorrow, and we'll talk.
All right, so do you want to, this is going to need to evolve quickly if we're going to make May 2nd. Do you want to schedule a 1-hour check-in in a week?
Sure.
Sure, that'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Next week.
That's right, next Wednesday's bad for me, too.
I can't next week. Can we do it after?
Oh, her wedding. We got to do
I
the
got
week
too much
after.
going on. The first week in May.
May 2nd is the deadline for the
Could we do, I don't know if this, can you do, what do we have to do to submit an application? We need a, we have to vote.
Well, the application is very bare, so it's not complicated.
Do we have to, I guess we would have to have a motion?
Yeah, it's going to be in the name of the commission. So,
right.
So yeah, we would need to have a meeting to at least go through the framework of the application and vote on it, vote to advance it, even if it wasn't.
I was just
done and dusted, just to at least.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out if there's any way we could have a motion to advance an application within certain parameters. I don't know if that's a doable thing.
Not sure we're there yet.
Well, I think we should have a meeting next week. Yep.
No, but I think what Bill might be saying, and if you allow me to speak for you for just a sec,
Please.
is that Bill's saying, look, give us the green light to go work on this, and then we can bring our stuff to the table at our next meeting.
I don't think we need a motion vote to do that.
Yeah, no. I actually saying we used to sometimes do motions to, sometimes with a dollar limit, or sometimes to authorize an application to be made on behalf of the board, whether it was up to or for an amount appropriate, whatever it might be, and then do that. But I think everybody would want to find, would want to find out anyway. So and I guess everybody doesn't have to be at the meeting. We could do it next week.
I'll do it.
Are you able to do a little bit this week? Because I don't think this is just going to be trying to. I'm saying for us to.
Yeah.
This is really just trying to find out.
I'll call Jen.
Whether there's
My
something
understanding is
far enough along to see.
Jen Datum usually works Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings, 9 to 1.
Oh, thank you.
She's pretty limited. She has limited office hours.
Thank you. So I wait till tomorrow. I'll leave her voicemail tomorrow.
Yeah,
She'll call me back. She's really good.
So the meeting we'd be looking at would be, it has to be May 1st?
2nd?
Yes.
Is that right, Jen?
That's a Monday.
Monday?
Yeah, maybe try to do it a day in advance just in case.
So it'll need to be next week.
And it would just be for that purpose, to see where we are. So it would be quick, I would think.
And we go virtual.
So either it looks like we have something, it will either look like we've got something that we can apply, and so. Wednesday? Or are you going to reach out?
I'll reach out.
Everybody? Okay. Okay.
How does it work with Arba? Do they just either approve our stuff or do they reject it? You know what I mean? Do they kick it back to us for more information? I don't know either.
Maybe we'll find out.
Well, I think when
how many of the credits
Rick
people are looking for money?
Yeah, when Rick was talking on that Saturday meeting, he made it sound like, they're open to all ideas and they have no preconditions and that kind of thing. So I think that they're going to give it a lot of thought about it. And then although that we were not like ranking high in the survey, of course, there was only, kind of a limited response to that. So I would think that we're still in the game on it. And when we gave our little presentation about affordable housing, everybody seemed to like it. So I think everybody's on board. It's just like, what is the idea? And, like we're struggling with it right now. They're also struggling with it, like the sewers, the water, how could it possibly happen? And, they're envisioning different things because they maybe did not attend our seminars, whatever. So I think that, it's a crapshoot, but I think there's a good shot. And if we can have some one-on-one time with Rick, I think that would be helpful as well going forward.
Okay, let me just do a quick recap then. I'm going to advance 2 potential threads for a proposal. One would be to go through social services and refurb existing property with a qualified existing occupant, resulting with the stipulation that there would be a deed restriction at the end, and we would have a new unit of affordable housing at the end with a qualified occupant in it. And the other thread would be to acquire a property through a foreclosure.
Can I ask a question? Do you think there's an option for us to be able to do the thread that Bill and I are heading towards if the occupant is over that threshold but still is in a situation where
it won't be affordable?
I think that would put you in a paradox if there was a deed restriction at the end that said
it's got to be at
not on the person. You know what I mean? So
no, to be in it, they have to.
Oh, you're saying so when it moves forward, they may be over now, but down the road, the next person will fit the criteria.
I mean, I understand the goal. I respect that, but I'm wondering if there's any wiggle room in your opinion that as long as there's a deed restricted, we get what we need, so that it's still in perpetuality always is helping someone.
I'm just reacting now, but
that's okay.
My sense of that would be a distant second because it would have to sell in order to realize the goal, to get a qualified occupant in a qualified unit.
Right. Well,
it would have to turn over, and that person could stay there forever.
Any person could stay there forever, though. Remember that.
But to be the devil's advocate, Karen, real quick, if they're over that $80,000 threshold for income.
Say that again, John.
I mean, if they're over that $80,000 for income, why aren't they taking care of their property?
But because they have the other obligations. I mean, that's way outside of what our
previous. I got it. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that in the affordable housing properties that we have now, at no point do we say to anybody, hey, you're over our limit now, so your rent's going up. That we never, ever, ever have done that before.
Oh, that's true. You're good point. The people who are in the, you get in and we never check you again until the next person buys it.
Until it turns over.
Right.
So, no, I wouldn't see it as a showstopper, just a second choice.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, and that's the same with Habitat, by the way, just so you know, once they are successful, then they're successful. So you've just added to their success. That's all.
Okay, so we'll check in next week on this, see where we're at.
Outstanding.
Well, it can't be said that we didn't try to make this work. trying to find a way. Okay, any other business?
I was curious if there was an update on the Hope property and whether the town and the taxes and...
That's on hold until we figure out what we're doing with McCulloch, and then we're going to see if we can fold that in.
Okay.
So that it would all be under the same, right?
Okay.
So no change to that, but it's still on the burner. But
so is the goal to change that all to the same sort of mold where it's all owned by the town and then they're paying us the rent now and taking it off of Hope's plate?
I'm not sure it's a goal, but it'll be a consideration. It'll be good to know what we're going to do with McCulloch as a way to advance the discussion about what to do with the Hope request.
Michael, we're going to build McCulloch.
Well, that's the ones we're going to build, but the Hope ones, I think the Hope properties could stay the way they are, and the town could just do what it's always done.
Yeah.
It's just
well, town owns them, so that we can figure it all out.
Right. Yeah.
But we're going to have to figure out to advance the option on McCulloch family open space. We're going to have to figure out some of the answers to some of the same questions we would have to consider in the context of the Hope request. So.
Exactly.
I just thought it would give us more rental income too.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's that possible light of some opportunity there, but we still have some work to do. And if it doesn't work for McCulloch, then it's not going to work for that. Okay. Other business. Upcoming meetings. We'll have one next week to check in on the Arba proposal, and the next one would be either the Board of Selectmen meeting in May or a special meeting, depending on how the Board of Selectmen wants to advance the affordable housing plan. And then we have our regular meeting coming up in May.
Our regular meeting would be the 18th, is that right?
I think so. Yeah.
I wrote May 18th.
I may or may not make that one. My son's getting married the 21st in New Jersey. I don't know at what point we're sort of going that. Yeah, business here, but
we all are, I guess.
You guys are
all good.
Weddings.
It might be just fine.
Okay, so what's your email? I'll put a poll out for an hour next week. I think we'll do WebEx.
Okay.
Just to reduce the overhead. If there's no objection to that, we could come here.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds good.
Okay.
Good with me.
For that purpose, WebEx is good.
Yes.
All right. That brings us to the end of the agenda. So, motion to adjourn. Karen?
Motion to adjourn.
Karen beat you to the punch, John.
No.
Take it.
Second.
Actually, John, go back. You joined late, and I had already seated Lori.
Lori.
No worries. It's fine.
No, that's okay. So.
Lori had already. You didn't see her.
Oh, Lori. Okay.
Yeah, she seconded.
Okay, good. Discussion? No. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. We are adjourned.
Have a great night.
Thank you all.
Good night.
Bill, what's your
Thanks, guys.
201 5.
Yes.